Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again and welcome to another slasher review, and today I'm here to review a low budget independent Australian slasher, The Killage, comedy slasher from 2011. So the story behind this one is it centres around a group of people in their early 20s. They've all got together, they've gone away to a retreat weekend at a camp, getting trained up in leadership skills because one of the 11 is eventually going to be named a team leader. So the aim for this group is to get trained up over the course of the weekend with various sort of bonding, getting to know you and leadership skill techniques in the hopes that one of them will be the team leader. So quite a few of the people are very keen to become team leader. Throw in a killer into the mix, picking them off one by one, and you have yourself the movie. So that is essentially the plot and the storyline. There's not really a lot more to it than that. There is a little bit of sort of backstory to do with the characters and some pretty cool character development. But yeah, that is essentially the plot and the storyline. Now, what did I think of this movie? Well, considering I'd never heard of the movie up until 2 weeks ago, when Simon let me know about it, he said it was meant to be pretty good, and I did a little bit of research, looked it up on IMDb, read a few reviews, sounded really promising. It also won quite a few film festival awards, which again is always promising, but not always a good indication though. From past experience, but I thought it sounded good. I'm always keen to check out a new slasher film, and especially something from Australia. So yeah, I wasn't too sure what to expect, but I've got to say I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was an extremely well made film, especially on a production and technical level, and as an overall movie I thought it was awesome and I had a really fun time with it. So first, before I get into my in-depth opinions on the movie, I do want to stress that I cannot praise the movie enough in terms of its production values, and on a technical level I thought they did an extremely phenomenal job with it. I did read that this had a budget of $20,000, and honestly, watching the movie you really would not know that it was that low. $20,000 in terms of filmmaking is not a hell of a lot of money, and they certainly put the money to phenomenal use, so fantastic job there. Now, in terms of the characters, I have never seen any of them before, which is kind of obvious going into a low budget independent movie, but the acting was really solid across the board. I was very impressed with it. They were a bunch of diverse characters. They included some really awesome characters in this movie, from different social backgrounds, which I thought was really good. A few of them were pretty cliche in terms of slasher characters, but there were some ones that I really hadn't seen pop up in other slashers too often, so that was nice. But yeah, great acting across the board. I was very impressed with it, and I also enjoyed how the characters were introduced at the beginning of the movie. They all met at a car park prior to going to the camp, and some of them knew each other before going to the camp, but I loved the way they were introduced. They were sort of all introduced on an individual level and done really well. You sort of knew straight away the type of character they were, so I was very impressed with the way the characters were introduced. But yeah, great acting across the board, very impressive. So yeah, now in terms of the kills, I was so impressed with the kills. They looked awesome. They were a mix of practical and CGI. Practical for the most part, which I'm a big fan of, but there were some CGI kills used throughout. You could tell, but I thought they were done pretty well, especially for the budget. So I was very impressed with the kills, and there were some awesome looking kills, guys. Quite a few that I had not seen before, so that was great. All pretty inventive and creative. The killer was awesome, by the way, and there wasn't a single, like just one weapon used throughout the whole movie. The killer used a variety of objects and equipment from around the camp, which I'm a big fan of, and yeah, there were some damn awesome kills, which I'm not going to spoil. So I love the kills. They were bloody and gory as well. This film was also exceptionally well shot, great cinematography. It was filmed in southeast Queensland, and from what I gathered from a few locations and scenery that I noticed. I believe it was filmed up around the Sunshine Coast. Beautiful scenery and locations up there, and they certainly put that to good use. Very, very great cinematography and camera work, so massive props to that. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about this movie. But for a ultra low budget movie, independent film, they did an absolutely exceptional job. So massive props goes out to each and every person that was involved with this movie, especially the director Joe Bauer, who also played one of the main characters in the movie, Gus, and he seemed like an awesome guy, really, really fun, down to earth. And that was another thing that impressed me with this movie. It's just sort of a good old classic Australian slasher film. They don't try and Americanize it at all, just straight up Aussie, which is awesome. So I highly, highly recommend each and every one of you to go out and source yourself a copy of this movie. As far as I know, the only company worldwide to have this movie distributed is Monster Pictures here in Australia. I know that there's no US release, and I'm pretty sure there's probably no UK release either. So as far as I know, this Australian DVD is the only way to get an official copy of this movie. But guys, it is well worth importing. I honestly cannot recommend this one enough. It was fantastic. So if you're a big fan of comedy slashers, or even if you're an aspiring horror filmmaker, this is a great one to check out, because it gives you a lot of good ideas and just shows how well a movie can be made on such a low budget. So I'm going to give The Killage a 4 out of 5. I was very, very impressed with it, other than my slight complaint with some of the overdone comedy elements that got a bit silly. But other than that, I thought the movie was fantastic, both as a viewing experience and on a technical and production level as well. So fantastic movie across the board. So that's been my review of The Killage. Please check it out, guys. It is fantastic. I highly, highly recommend it. One of the best horror movies to come out in the past 2 years, easily. So that's been my review. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks a lot for watching.